Hey y'all, welcome to the filling station. So in this video, we are looking at support and resistance, or as I like to say, where are the trouble places or possible trouble places. But first, let me give my disclaimer, y'all. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth. And yes, the stock market is just one of those avenues. So this video is for educational purposes only. If you could please like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that, because we learn and we grow together, y'all. So with that being said, let's get started. So for this video, we're looking at Tesla, and I like to look at the 30-minute chart again because it gives me a different view of the story, of how I can piece the story together, or that. So as of now, we're going to look at the 5-minute chart because I wanted to point out that looking at this 5-minute chart, we really can see that, we hit a bottom here, move back to the upside, only to have some trouble here. And it looks like we're coming back to this area here, right? So I'm going to go to the 30-minute chart. And I wanted to point out that technically, Tesla is coming off of a high, the high of this candle here, which is 285.39. And we sold off only to come down and find support here at the $268.86. And it's a little under that, but technically that was our support area because, as you can see, we're in the zone. Let's just say that, right? So I went to the daily chart and I marked that this 20 EMA here is going to be a trouble place as we were coming down. And as you can see, we came off of a high only to come down, and we bounced off of this area. However, we bounced, went back up, but we come back to this area again. So what's important now, this is our support area. This is our floor. This is what's holding us up as of now at the time, right? Now, again, this 268.98 we knew could be an area that could hold us up or stop the decline. Let's say that, because that's exactly what happened. We had a decline, we moved sideways, or consolidated is the more technical term. I just like to say, the gathering spot, right? So again, this 268.98 was a support area for us. We bounced from this is our 4 o'clock candle for today. We come down under that. So I need to watch this 265 area. Why? Because we broke down under a level of support, and on the daily chart it was a 20 EMA. On this 30-minute chart it's the 200 EMA. So either way, I need to watch this 268 area for to 86, 89, 98, 268 area. I need to watch for Tesla. We broke through that only to bounce, in my opinion, kind of like gave us a double bottom here to go back to the upside. Well, we got rejected here. This is a resistance area for us now, that 274.62, which we kind of knew that, right? So with that being said, Tesla is technically trading in a zone. The support I would use as this 268.98, and the resistance is at the 274.62. Now, looking at it on this 5-minute chart, I can't see that we're actually trading in a very small zone. Well, really, I could. Now, from this line to this line, we could see that we're trading in a very small zone. I could just see it clearly from the 30-minute chart. Now, looking at it from this 2-minute chart, which I like to use also, we could still see that Tesla is trading in a zone, right? So, this is our support area, this is our resistance area, but it's still important to go back and look at it from a different time frame. So now this is my 1-hour chart. Looking at it on the 1-hour chart, I see this clear picture that we're not really moving, right? We're not going up, we're not making higher highs. Yesterday when the market closed on some news, we went up to this 580 mark. So I do know that if we should break this area here from the high of this candle, should we break this, we could very well come back and retest this area here. Not guaranteed, because again, this is where prices gather. This is where our buyers and our sellers have been gathering for a while. So in my opinion, because we've been here, we could very well make a strong move up or a strong move down. So now I need to figure out where my other trouble places are. Should we go back to the upside? What areas, could very well stop me out, or I could possibly have trouble? So that's why I go in and mark these gray shaded areas, because it kind of lets me know that we've had trouble in those areas before. So it's a possibility that we could very well come back to this place again. So let's just say that we don't, I didn't have these little gray shaded areas here, or this blue line here, which I can now turn to a gray line. So let's just say that I did not have those places there. I could very well use my moving averages or my ATR trail and stop. I had an awesome mentor friend. He helped me a lot in understanding that is strong support or strong resistance. So that if by chance we break this area here that I have marked at the 274.62, or above this 50 EMA at the 274, let's just say the 274.19 area, if we break, continue moving beyond that area or stay above that, we could very well continue moving until our next trouble place on this 1 hour chart is at the 281.66. So can we break up to reach this 281.66 based on this 1 hour chart? We very well can, but just know that there's a big gap from the 274 to the 281. So there's a strong possibility there's something that's going to stop us or could stop us out in this area. That's why we go in and try to figure out what those places are. Simple support and resistance. Where am I going to have trouble? So again, I'm going to go to the 4 hour chart. Do you see we see the exact same thing? We're just looking at it from a different view. Our candles are showing us the exact same thing. We had a nice sell off or decline here. We moved sideways or to a gathering spot, as I'd like to say here. Tesla tried to come back up. So based on this 4 hour chart, I could possibly have trouble again here. I have this line 280.84 marked, and I'm going to keep it on my chart because it's there. We've been there before. We could very well have trouble there again. So again, without those lines, I can still say that even on this 4 hour, keep in mind, this is a 4 hour chart. So the candle moves every 4 hours. So within that 4 hour time frame, Tesla can run from that 274 up to this 287.66 and possibly have trouble. So what I like to do sometimes is I'll go in and I'll mark this area here as, this is going to be a trouble place for me on my 200 EMA on my 4 hour. So I will put 4 hour here, and just to let me know that I could possibly have trouble in this area. Now when I go back to my 30-minute or 1 hour chart, or breaking it down, it could be visible. I don't want to change the view of this because I need it, yes, for teaching purposes. So looking at that, I know that I could possibly have trouble at that area. Again, in this area, I know that this is the ATR trailing stop based on the 1 hour. So I'm going to go back, and everything that I do is done the exact same way. I know that color line, I know what it means. So if I put 1 hour here, I know that this is my ATR trailing stop on the 1 hour. And I normally do this. So that stands for ATR trailing stop on the 1 hour chart. So I'm going to mark that because I need to remember that. These are going to be my trouble places. I know that this is my 4 hour. 200 on the 4 hours, really 287.66. So I really need to change that. And keep in mind that is going to change. That's going to, as the stock move up or down, that number could fluctuate. However, it is basically in the same area. Let's say that. So that's the 4 hour. That's going to be my 200 EMA on my 4 hour. And I need to remember that because when I'm looking at a different chart, I may not see that, right? So I'm going to go back. This is the 4 hour. I'm going to go back to the 1 hour. ATR trailing stop is going to be an area that I very well need to watch. And looking at it on this 1 hour chart, you see my 200 EMA is right there where some previous areas of support is. So I can mark this one, or I could just leave it the way that it is, considering I already have those levels marked to let me know that it's being held up. If we should come down to this area, we could very well find support in an area that, one, I had already marked, and two, I'm using the moving averages as a support and resistance. Let's say that, right? So I'm going to go back to my 30-minute chart, and as you can see, that 268.98, which is that 220 EMA on the daily chart, it is now kind of close to where my 200 EMA is. So what's interesting is if by chance we get, it looks like the 5 and 50 wants to cross back to the upside again, that's trouble for us. I mean, that's a good place to the upside, and I'm not really trouble. I like to see those, the 5 and 50 crossings. But if by chance we lose the area of support, let's say by chance we break under the 271.83 area, then we could very well come back to this location and find support breaking this level, let's say that. Now, under the 270, we could very well come back to the 268.98. If breaking the 268.98, you see how strong that, I mean, how the 200 EMA, which is this yellowish gold color line here. So in my opinion, Tesla has a lot of support in this area, and strong support, because that's the 20 EMA on the daily chart, the 200 EMA on this 30-minute chart, and a previous line that I had already marked at the 269.39 area. You see how close it is, y'all? Marking the support and resistance is so important. However, if we should lose this area here, we could very well have trouble back to the downside. So breaking this level, I could possibly, minus these gray lines areas here, I could very well come back to these ATR trailing stop on this 30-minute chart. Now, I could very well mark that, and I do apologize. So I can mark that level here, because when I go to my 5-minute chart, I'm not going to see that. So it's 265.21, and it's always helpful to make sure, you know, you're kind of like at the exact same place. And I like to do that. Again, I have issues. So this is the ATR trailing stop. ATR trailing stop. And this is the 30-minute. So I'm going to mark that so that when I go, so looking at this 30-minute chart, okay, again, we're working on charting, finding support and resistance, right? So looking at this 30-minute chart, I can see that if we break this level here, you know, we could very well keep climbing. Yes, there is going to be some stop out places in between, but my next major level of support will be around that 281.61. And if I should break that level, my next level of support will be around the 287.66. Now, this is why I look at support and resistance on a smaller scale, because from this line to this line, there's a big gap in between that. And I need to figure out these little gap areas, those places, like from, you know, from this line to this line, there's a lot of places in between. So those are in between places that we could very well stop out or get stopped out. So again, under this line, which I got from the daily chart, and my 200 EMA, you know, if under from this line to this line, there's some gaps in between. So that's why I go in and I mark those. Again, simple support and resistance. So again, looking at this 30-minute chart here, it tells me that back to the upside, we could very well have trouble here, and we could very well have trouble here. Now, if I were to go to my 5-minute chart, I wouldn't see all of that because of the time frame, because of the way that the charts are, because of the way that it's set up, right? So that's why it is very, very important that we go and look at a higher time frame. So many people use different time frames, and it really doesn't matter what you like to use. I always say whatever you choose to use, it's okay. It's just whatever paints the picture for you. And that's about, you know, with trading, it's so many terms and so many ways to trade and so many ways to make money. It's cultivating or customizing it to where you understand what you're seeing and it makes sense to you, right? So again, at this 30-minute chart, Tesla is trading sideways. It looks like we're trying to, you know, we're still having trouble at this 274.42 area. So I need to mark an alert, you know, to let me know. And if it happens, you know, pre-market, quite naturally, it's going to go off as soon as the bell ring, right? So the opening bell, that is. Now, if by chance we break above this level, my system will alert me to let me know Tesla has broken through a level of support. Now, I will set my next level of, you know, resistance down under, slightly under, not directly under, slightly under the support area that I have marked. Why? Because I need to know, you know, when we break this level. And this tells me that we have broken through a level of resistance up here. My next alert that I hear for Tesla will let me know that we have broken through a level of support. So I need to be watching. If we break this level, I could possibly trade it down to the 265.21 as my target. If we break this level, I could possibly trade to the at least 280, 282, 281 area, you know, for resistance. And Tesla normally exceeds its ATR, which is the average true range of the stock. It normally exceeds that. So you just have to ride the wave with Tesla. Let me say that. So again, recap, we're doing we identified our sideways movement here looking at this 30-minute chart, we could tell that Tesla's been trading in a zone, so it's going to either make a strong move up or a strong move down. And I need to know where my trouble places are. I went to my 1 hour chart, and I marked my level here. As you can see, looking at the 1 hour chart, I can still see the 30-minute information here because I need to remember that, right? So the next, I'm at my 4 hour chart. I can see my, 20 EMA here on my 4 hour. I need that. This is my 1 hour here. I need that. This is my 30-minute information. I need that. And I could very well mark this level here, which is the ATR trailing stop here at the 260.26 area. And I'm going to mark that as the 4 hour ATR trailing stop. So all of this is going to help me when I need to get into this, when I'm in this trade, or before I get into this trade. I kind of know where my possible trouble places are, or where I could possibly have trouble. That is so important. And that's most, we need to identify that before we enter the trade and not try to figure it out on the way. Now, don't get me wrong, these gray shaded areas, sometimes we just know that price has been, we're having trouble in this area, and we mark those. Again, that's the gap from this place to this place, right? So we fill those in as we go, but we're using our moving averages as support and resistance. I like to use the 5, the 20, the 50, and the 200, and I use the same color on whatever platform that I'm using. I have my 5 as the blue, the light blue area here. I have my 50 as the white here. I have my 20 as the red here. I like to see that. So, those are things that I know. My 200 is this gold color. It has to be unison or consistent for me, because otherwise I'll get distracted in trying to remember what that is, to where I focus so much on what the moving average is instead of what the chart is actually showing me, or what the candle is actually showing me. So again, we're looking at Tesla, and it looks like, again, we're having trouble in this 274 area. Our support could be this 50 EMA, this 5 EMA, or this area here, because that is what's holding us up as of now. Breaking that, we can come back down to this moving average and find support. Breaking that, we can come back down to this little level here that I had marked as a support area, because it has held us up before, right? So if we should break that, we could very well come back to these 3 layers of support. Now, breaking this level, we could very well have a issue. Let's say that I won't say a problem. We could have an issue, because that's 3 layers of support that we have broken through. Could we come back down to this 265, which is our ATR trailing stop, another strong level of support here for Tesla. So that's something to be mindful of, y'all. I hope these videos are very, very helpful. So when I look at the market, this is what I see. And a lot of times it's trying to take the information and perceive it and put it in a way the way we understand it. So again, I hope this is helpful for you. I hope that everyone have a very productive day. If you could, please like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that, y'all, because we learn and we grow together. So until next time, be blessed, as well as a blessing unto others.